Alrighty, look at another example. So we've been working with polar coordinates. The last video we did polar into rectangular. Now we're going to go backwards. So we've got a rectangular and we're going to change it into our polar coordinates. So remember, what do you need to know? Basically the radius and the angle. So this is just going backwards. I like to sketch a triangle. Okay, so 5, -5. Let's just picture where that is. So if I went over 5 and down 5. So this side's 5, this side's -5. Well, and that's a little sloppy there, but can you picture the quadrant? Well, we're in quadrant 4. We're down here, aren't we? So all we need to do is get the hypotenuse. Well, that's easy. 25 plus 25, so that's 50. Square root of 50 is going to be 5√2. 25 times 2, right? So there's our R value. So now all we need is an angle, and you could either do this whole angle like that, or you could just get an angle right here. This one's probably the easiest. Of course, these two sides have the same magnitude, and so this angle is 45. You don't even hardly need to think about that one. And so we could state this like this. We could say it is 5√2. Ah, why is it not sketching right there? 5√2 and -π4. So we're going to do these angles in radians usually. Or we could say 7π4, right, if you just picture. So here's our angle right here. That's why I put the unit circle over here. So there's different ways. Remember, there's an infinite number of ways you could describe that, but that's probably the quickest. Okay, let's look at another one. Convert. So same thing. -1/2, -3. Again, I just like to make a quick sketch. So if I go this way, so that's -1/2, and I'm going down (√3/2). So here is the actual side, right, the thing we're looking at. So again, that just shows me which quadrant. So I'm in this quadrant, third quadrant, of course. Now you want to get the hypotenuse here. Pretty straightforward. So if you square these, let me just show that. So √3/2 squared plus 1/2 squared. Now the negatives would go away anyway, that's why I didn't show them. So this would be 3/4 plus 1/4. Of course that is 4/4, which is 1, and you take the square root and it is 1. Now what angle are we talking about here? Now again, I'm in the third quadrant, but let's solve for this angle. So if I do tangent theta equals (√3/2 over (1/2). Of course my negatives divide out, my 2's divide out, and I get √3. So if you look down here, this happens to be a nice one. √3 is right here, and that is 4π3. So theta, right, if we solve for this angle here, we could add 180, but we can just look at our unit circle, and this one happens to be 4π3. So for this particular one, it is the point 1, that's our R, and 4π3 would be our direction. So I like to just sketch a triangle, trust it. The ones you're going to work with today, by the way, they're going to be nice, they're going to be on the unit circle. They don't have to be, but the ones that I'm going to give you are going to be pretty straightforward.